Welcome to the therapy episode of Peeing Ballers. I'm joined by a real old friend of the channel, one of my close personal buddies, Jack from Deadball TV. Before we get into the topic today, guys, don't forget to hit like and subscribe on our videos, but also to check out Jack's channel. I'll put the links to that and his socials down below. Jack, let's just get into it, man. You're like one of the biggest Tottenham fans I know. Big news coming down the pipe. Ange Postecoglou has been canned. I'll let you just unload here and I'll just kind of play counselor.
Yeah, so I actually have like a 20-minute video, basically a full rant style going up on the channel. I think today, as of the day that we're recording, I just fundamentally disagree with the decision to get rid of him. I don't understand what the priority is for Spurs anymore. I thought it was winning a trophy. I thought it was not being the biggest banter club in the Prem. That's what I thought the objective was. And not only did my man go out there and win a Carabao Cup, I mean, he won a Europa League. And it seems like that wasn't enough, and nobody cared enough because we lost 18 games in the Prem, even though part of that was largely intentional because we rotated the squad, prioritizing the Europa League. It just disappoints me because this should have been a moment that went down in Spurs history as a turning point potentially. And instead, there's a large portion of the fan base, it might be 50%, that they're just never going to experience happiness in life. They're always complaining about no matter what's going on. We're beating Frankfurt. They're complaining. We're beating freaking Alkmaar. Nobody cares. They're just spewing depravity on Twitter. And I guess those voices plus Daniel Levy went out and Ange is gone. And I'm so pissed about the decision.
So I want to unpack that really quickly. Like, you're a longtime suffering Tottenham fan. So when you saw like the final whistle go at the Europa League final, just like, can you describe how you felt, dude? Even for me, I was happy for Sonny, but for you, dude, like, oh my God.
Yeah, it's funny. I was very happy for Son as well because, I mean, Spurs legend, one of my favorite players of all time. So like, even though he had a limited role, came on as a sub, like, I don't care. He deserves a trophy. Him and Harry Kane were the guys, and maybe Christian Eriksen, that, like, if I could roll back the clock, dude, I would have won them a league or a Champions League or something. Like, it's just disturbing how few people realize how good those guys were. And that's because we just trophy count nowadays, and footy fandom is cooked. But anyways, when the final whistle ended, I mean, you can see my reaction online. I mean, I go straight to defending Ange.
Yeah,
because this man has been so disrespected the entire time. Like, as soon as he was hired, people were mad. And part of it is because he's Australian. Yeah. There's a xenophobia that English clubs have towards non-English, British, Italian, basically Western Europe. It's not even Europe, because I think if you hired like a Belarusian or something, people would still be like, who the hell is this guy? Right?
Exactly.
If you hire
Where'd he come from?
Central Asia, you're getting clowned. So Australia, too, is like seen as a footballing backwater. Like, yeah, they're good at rugby. Who cares? Everything he did was honestly shat on. It wasn't even like disrespected. It was, oh, Arteta's a better manager. Laughable. It was, oh, he won an Asian Cup with Australia. Like, that's not even hard. Well, they haven't been able to do it since. They're talking about him winning with Brisbane Roar or Yokohama. It was like Farmer League. They're winning with Tokahashi Zebras is like stuff I was seeing on the timeline. Wins with Celtic, wins a treble there. That's probably the least impressive of his achievements, honestly. And this man just got hate, and it was so undeserved. So first thing I felt was, I'm glad Ange is sticking it to y'all. And he said he was going to win in his second season. He said, I always win things. Homie called it. You clowned him every day about that quote. And he did it on your head, dunking on you, and won. It felt amazing. Mainly for the haters, which maybe I'm a little ashamed that that's where I went, but it is.
I mean, dude, I honestly wonder if part of me was Levy was hoping that they don't win the Europa League, because if Ange did win it, then it's harder to fire him. And it's obvious that Levy had wanted to fire him for a while now. The thing with Levy is that I don't think he cares about winning as much as he does about the profits. So I'm sure Tottenham made a pretty nice profit this year, considering they didn't really sign anybody. So for him, the trophy was just, okay, it's a nice piece of silverware, but I'm still going to fire Ange. And I mean, I guess like, okay, so like there's one devil's take position I could take here, and it's that, you know, the league record, right? What was it, 22 league losses, which is a record because most teams who've had that many losses have always been relegated except for Tottenham. Was there like a bit of an argument you can make that, you know, we're doing this so we could have a better result in the Prem next year? Or do you think that argument is still not valid enough?
Look, the Premier League and domestic record was really bad. Part of that was due to injuries. Dude, our squad got ravaged by the bubonic plague this year. I mean, we were having to play Archie Gray, Jed Spence, guys that were not supposed to be anywhere near the first team. Yeah. We had to sign a goalkeeper. We don't even know. Nobody knows who he is. Hospital FC. And Postecoglou's spoken about this. At the end of the season in January, he was like, hey, dude, we're not catching the teams in the top 4. But I can win the Europa League if I prioritize that. And he did. And we continue to lose games. And yeah, it sucked. Yeah, I didn't like watching Spurs in the Premier League. But is that a reason to sack him? Why not just because he achieved what he said he was going to and winning us a trophy? You know, Conte couldn't do that. Mourinho couldn't do that. Pochettino couldn't do that. Nuno Espirito Santo couldn't do that. Why not just say, all right, he earned one more season? That's been my whole argument here. He earned one more season. And then if we're shit at the end of December, sack him in December. Next December. But it just feels very unjust to me. Also, Albert, I put it like this. I mean, I'll try to draw a not so perfect example here. I get the, teams are always relegated with 22 losses. It's our most in the Prem. But I don't know. To me, it's like, all right, if Korea won the Asian Cup, but y'all conceded a record like 14 goals while doing so, like, would anybody care? Would anybody be like, well, our defense used to be so much? It's like, piss off, bro. People like that will never be happy.
Yeah.
Just shut up. You won the Asian Cup.
That means we scored a lot of goals too. That means the games are fun.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's not a perfect analogy that I'm trying to draw here, but it's like, yeah, things were dark over here. Part of that was intentional. Part of it was bad luck. But what about this?
Yeah.
What about this? I don't know.
Because what matters at the end of the day, bro, it's trophies. That's all. That's what the game's about, right? That's what they tell me. Right, rings.
That's what they tell me.
Yeah, but I guess it's not. And maybe like you could argue it's a bit of a Ten Hag thing where it's like they saw United, Ten Hag winning the FA Cup and then not firing him and seeing how that played out. But again, it's not the same situation considering that I think Ange's CV is actually probably better and more impressive than Ten Hag's given where he started.
Absolutely better than his.
It is. So just
absolutely better than his.
I mean, Jack, where does this leave you? Like, also just as a fan, but when you look at this, like, technically speaking, obviously Thomas Frank is probably going to be coming in. Pretty decent manager who does a lot with his limited resources at Brentford. But, I mean, I think, dude, even if Frank is a good manager, I think the vibes are so rotten in Tottenham now. And the fact is the players are pissed. You could see how much they loved Ange. You saw Sonny post on his Instagram about how Ange made him a better person, not just a better player. So I think that even if Frank comes in and he does a little better, like in terms of setting up a more cohesive system, that the vibes in this club are at a point now where I don't know if Tottenham are going to do well overall next year.
Yeah, Thomas Frank, look, good manager. He's done a great job with Brentford. Not a winner. If we're talking about Spurs winning trophies, he is not a winner. He is a guy that overperforms with smaller clubs, with all due respect to Brentford. And maybe that's the type of manager he is. Not every manager can manage in different scenarios. What I love about Ange is that he has proven success in different environments, different leagues, club and international. And now with Spurs, which if you win with Spurs, you're pretty damn good, dude. I don't care what you want to say. If you lift a trophy with Spurs, you are a good manager. Like, period, end of discussion. So Frank's probably going to be brought in, and I don't hate the appointment. I hate that we're appointing anybody. We should be sticking with Postecoglou. But I bet, dude, he's going to prioritize the Prem. We're going to finish 7th or 6th. We're going to lose Cuti Romero. We're going to lose a few other players, sign a couple 18-year-olds. And I guess, I don't know what's going to happen, man. We're going to get pissed at Thomas Frank in a year and a half because Spurs fans are morons. And they're going to be like, this guy sucks. Get him out. Frank out. I can see it now. Because we won't win anything.
I know you're a loyal guy, but is this like almost enough where you're like, damn, like I can't really support this club as much as I want to just because of the way it's operating, because of the way Levy has treated pretty much a club legend in Ange? And does it make you kind of feel grim about the future? Because is it kind of depressing where it's like you win something and like the sight of Sonny holding that trophy was surreal to me, right? Because all those years he came so close and he never did it. But now after that euphoria, it's like you kind of crash all the way down. It's I've never done drugs before, but it's like taking ecstasy maybe from what I hear, and it's really good. And then the next morning you're like, oh damn, like back to my crappy reality. Like, does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it is kind of like the come down, you could say. Not that I've done drugs either, but does it spoil the moment? Yeah, but I think the fans that wanted him out the entire time also spoiled the moment. Like we had people in our fan base who were saying like, "Oh, Son like was terrible this year, like he didn't deserve the trophy." And I'm like, this man carried Spurs on his back for years. He carried us in the Champions League at times. And yeah, because he has an off year, you guys are going to disrespect a legend. Everybody's a hater, man. You just cannot pay attention to any of these faceless twats on Twitter. Like, honestly, it's better to just mute all of them. None of them have the balls to, like, actually stand on their statements. That's why they hide behind anonymity. Does it affect my fandom? Yeah, a little bit. I mean, it affected it when we sacked Poch. I thought that was bullshit. And now, do I feel the same with Ange going? Yeah, a little bit. And there's a reason that I've been a bit more distant from Spurs this season because it's a cesspool, man. It's a cesspool. I don't want to be part of this crowd. I don't want to be part of this discussion. So yeah, I do take a step back.
I guess like on the field, then I don't think Levy's going to change realistically, but like on the field, what would the result have to be next year for you to at least feel a little placated, or feeling that maybe letting Ange go isn't the end of the world? Is it like a top 4 finish and then going a little deep in the Champions League? Like, what are you thinking?
For me, I think if we made another final of like the FA Cup, Carabao, that would be pretty big for me. In the Prem, dude, I don't even know. I mean, I want us to be competitive, of course. Yeah. But if you ask me, like, Jack, would you rather finish 4th in the Prem and just get trounced in the Cups, and then in the Champions League you go out in the round of 16? Or would you rather win the FA Cup next season and finish 10th? I would finish 10th and win the FA Cup. That's what happens
when you deprive a man of silverware, man. It's like
not a lot of my teams win that often.
Yeah, it's a tough one. And I think the fact that we're even having this discussion kind of shows the issue with the Tottenham mentality. And I don't know. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of light at the end of the tunnel. I'm trying to find some like bright spots. Like there's some good young players, but I also wonder what kind of message it sends. Because, you know, Ange was the one who brought these young players. Like he kind of personally picked some of them out. So it's like, is the new manager even going to want to keep some of these guys? And that leads into my other segue, which is the future of Son Heung-min. We all know, bro. My opinion, the Asian GOAT. I think you think the same. Tottenham legend, deserves a statue outside Spurs Stadium, but I think, honestly, this might be the end of the road for him, not just because I think his legs are slowing down, but it's a question of whether Thomas Frank will want to keep him. I don't know if he's going to go back to Asia. I could see him still staying in Europe at a lower league, but it might be the end for Sonny, don't you think?
We've had conversations about Son and what the future looks like. Like, does he need to transition to more of a attacking midfielder role and come more central, as his pace is definitely slowed down a bit? But I also think he could be a winger just in a less pace-focused league. Like, he could absolutely play in Spain. He could absolutely play in Spain. Not every winger in Spain is a speed demon. There's a lot of, like, pretty modestly
technically gifted
guys out
but
there.
Not fast. Yeah.
Exactly. Sergio Gomez, not the fastest guy. Carlos Vicente for Alaves. There's a lot of other examples of wingers there that they are in the lineup because they are intelligent, which Son is. They know how to play the game. They have ball IQ, and they're technically gifted. The problem is when you look at Spain, where does he go? You can't go to Barca.
Nope.
Why would Madrid sign him at this point?
Can't go to
Levy is. Does he have the defensive work rate that Simeone would want? Probably not.
No.
So it would have to be like a truly like kind of unknown side like Sociedad or Real Betis or something. And I just don't ever see Son doing that. I think it's more likely he goes to the Bundesliga.
Espanyol, like one of those middle teams.
Hell no.
Not even
He'd be
Espanyol?
the greatest player to ever play for Espanyol. Yeah, no. They cannot afford him. That's a separate issue, but the La Liga salary cap is a big problem.
Right. So I think the biggest question here, and a lot of people are wondering, especially Korean football fans, is like, we know he had some injuries this year, so sometimes I wondered, is it the injuries, is it age, is it both? Like, what do you think it was mainly him not having a good season? Do you think it was just general wear and tear, his age, or like, because people are curious, like, how much longer he has left?
The dude has a lot of miles on his body.
Yeah.
Like, he's been Spurs captain and South Korea captain. He's been playing for two of the most starving fan bases 4 trophies in the world. And I don't think people realize what that does to a man.
It's also a long-ass flight from London to Seoul.
It's also a long-ass flight. He's also got to be the face of Korea, and we know what that means. We know, like, the dude cannot step wrong, or the South Korean citizenry will tear him to shreds online, which is a separate issue. But I've seen that a lot.
Yeah, we saw the news article about. We won't get into that today, but yeah.
I mean, dude, it's just crazy. I think we might see a little bit of a bounce back with him because I feel like the relief now is real. The pace, will it come back? I don't know if the pace will come back, but I think a little bit of the sharpness will. Like, he was making some mistakes for Spurs and Korea, like uncharacteristically loose with the ball when he's dribbling. That's not pace related. That's I attribute to fatigue. So if he does get some rest, I expect that to be better next season. I expect him to be better in tight spaces, probably a little bit better with his finishing. So I do think we see a little bit of a resurgence, but yeah, he's not going to be what he was when he was 25 years old, just burning guys down the left wing anymore. He's going to have to become a smarter player. And fortunately for him, I think he's capable of doing so.
Which is fair, because nobody is the same at 33 when they are at 25. I just think we have such, high expectations for what he is because of what we've seen growing up. So I guess kind of to wrap this up, Jack, assuming, let's say, that he stays at Tottenham next year, is Son Heung-min still a starting caliber player we're assuming Tottenham is a top 6 team, for a top 6 Prem team?
Yes, he's definitely a starter.
No doubt.
I don't think there's any doubt. And I mean, I don't know who we're going to start over him. Odebear? No. It is Son. I think Son is going to benefit more from having Udogie healthy all season as well. I think he's better when that partnership exists.
Yeah.
When he's got Jed Spence or Ben Davies behind him, it's just not the same. And I think his numbers, right, because everyone wants to talk about the numbers as well, his numbers would probably be a little bit better if we had a more consistent midfield, if Solanke scored more goals, if Kulusevski was more available. There's a lot of problems around Spurs, and I feel like Son, maybe it's because he is the captain, gets a lot of the brunt of that, but it's so much bigger than that. So I do think he's a starter, absolutely. I mean, 33 is getting up there, but he's not like Luka Modric, Ronaldo age. I mean, Mo Salah just extended at Liverpool. He's not exactly a young guy either, but he's playing in a much more well-balanced, high-operating team.
A lot, yeah. I can't really compare. Yeah, exactly.
Son isn't.
No, he's not. And I think he does take care of his body well. He's not known to be like a partier or to abuse his body, so maybe in the vein of a Ronaldo, even though he's not as tall as him, as he ages, he could play a little more centrally, whether that's as a secondary striker or whether that's like a false 9 in a more flexible system. Yeah, I tend to agree with you, man. I think part of it is age, but I think a lot of it is just the burden of being not just the captain of South Korea, but being the captain of Tottenham Hotspur. It's still a big deal. It's not United, it's not Chelsea, but it's still one of the top clubs in England. If you go to that stadium, which one of our friends Paul did on the channel, oh my goodness, it's a legit club now in a lot of ways. So having that burden along with the age and just the general chaos of Spurs, I think he's handled it as well as anyone could have. I just hope that he has maybe at least a year or two left because, the World Cup is coming next year. So Jack, before I let you go, man, just last thing, prediction, where does Son play next year and how high in the league do Tottenham finish?
I think he's going to stay at Spurs. I think if we sack Ange and then sell Son in the same window.
Ouch.
I mean,
that's
Levy. I mean, he's already dead to me, but that would be needing a second rant video that would also be uploaded on the channel. I mean, you can't treat an icon like that. It's just, it would be crazy disrespectful.
Close to unforgivable, ain't that? Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I don't know if there's been many better servants to the club, as they like to say in football, than Son Heung-min to Spurs.
None. I can't think of any recently.
Few.
No.
Where do we finish in the table? I'm going to assume Thomas Frank is our manager. Anywhere between 5 and 8. 5th through 8th, I think. And it depends how far we go in the Champions League. That might not even be a priority. Maybe Levy's like, hey, we got the Champions League money. Focus on the league,
Happy
baby.
to be here.
I mean, that's kind of what the precedent is now. It's no, the league is the priority. So Champions League, Cups, that's nice, but we don't really care. We need you to do well in the league. So, somewhere in there. I don't think we'll get top 4. Squad's not good enough.
And that's the thing.
And if we lose Romero, hell no.
Oh, God. And Cootie might leave too because he's pissed. That's the thing. Most clubs would invest after a successful season like this, but it seems like Tottenham are just content to just do what they want. I think you have to bank back Frank properly, but I think part of the reason he's probably coming is because he's not gonna, throw a fit over Levy not giving him the funds he needs. We'll see. I hope what you said is true though. At least a top 5 to 8 finish wouldn't be terrible. And if Sonny stays and he'll still play some Champions League ball, I think that's probably the one thing I'll look forward to. But guys, that was a great discussion. We got to wrap it up here. Don't forget, again, to hit like and subscribe for our channel, but also Jack's as well. Deadball TV does a lot of great work. They cover literally every single continent in this world. Never seen a guy who watches as much footy as Jack. But in the meantime, thanks for watching. Stay safe, and we'll see you in the next one.